Mark arrived at Eli's room and knocked. Eli opened the door. "Don't tell me one of your roommates brought a girl to the room," he said as he let Mark in. "I wish that were the case," Mark responded. "Then what's up? Couldn't you sleep?" Mark told Eli everything Fenton had said. Eli stopped smiling. "Wait. What? Sounds like they came to rise you. But why? Have you crossed anyone recently?" Mark told him about what happened that morning with Rui. "I only dragged him out of the shower, though." "But he also did threaten you," Eli added quickly. "True." Mark nodded. "So he is trying to be true to his word." Eli shook his head slowly. "These people are mad." There was silence for a moment. Then Eli said, "I will go with you to see Tiny tomorrow." "I should go alone. I don't want to drag you into this, bro." "No arguments. We go together." "Okay. Thanks." Mark hardly slept that night. The next morning, Eli woke up to find Mark sitting at his desk. "Did you even sleep at all?" "A little bit," Mark responded. "I won't lie. I am worried. Rui, I can handle, but I can't fight a group of people. Definitely not these confra guys, man. Plus the police can't even help. Not yet, anyway." "Don't worry," Eli tried to calm him down. "Let us see what Tiny has to say first. Also, I know a guy. He is a third-year student. He definitely looks like he belongs to a crew. I don't know which one, but maybe he can help somehow." Feeling a little better, Mark suggested they meet around noon to see Tiny. Eli agreed. "Let me shower, then we should go and get some breakfast." Mark agreed. "I'll go to my room, shower, then change, and then meet you at the cafeteria." Mark headed toward Hall 3. As Mark approached Hall 3, he heard the familiar voice behind him. "Lagos boy." Mark turned. Kensula. Same Kangol hat. Same relaxed smile. But this time, something was testing in his eyes. Kensula walked closer. "You day move fast nowadays." Mark said nothing. Kensula smiled and lightly patted Mark's pocket. "How far? Wetin you get for me?" Before Mark even realized it, Kensula was already trying to search him again. This time, Mark grabbed his wrist immediately. Firm. Fast. Kensula looked surprised. Mark stepped closer. "If you need money," Mark said calmly, "ask nicely." Kensula's smile disappeared. "If I have, I might give you some." Mark tightened his grip slightly. "But never search me again." For the first time since meeting Mark, Kensula looked uncertain. Almost scared, even. He slowly pulled his hand away. "Wow!" He forced a small laugh. "Nah so?" Mark actually surprised himself. But he had had enough. "Yes. Nah so," he responded. Kensula backed up with a defeated look on his face. Mark turned and walked away without even looking back. After cleaning up and changing his clothes, he headed to meet up with Eli. Eli was waiting outside the cafeteria when Mark arrived. "You look like you had some confidence for breakfast," Eli laughed. Mark grinned. Then he explained what happened with Kensula. Eli burst out laughing. Hard man." Mark laughed too. "I'm nobody's Magoo." The tension between them broke immediately. For the first time in days, Mark felt powerful again. But the feeling didn't last long. Because they still had to see Tiny. After breakfast, they headed back to Hall 3 towards Tiny's room. Mark and Eli stopped outside the room number Fenton had given him. Music was playing softly inside. Voices too. Mark knocked. The door opened halfway. Immediately, both boys froze. Inside the room were nearly 10 men. Some sitting. Some standing. Most shirtless. One boy sat in the center while others surrounded him intensely. Sweating. Nervous. Mark and Eli weren't sure what to make of it. The guy at the door stared coldly. "Yes?" He looked at Mark. Mark looked past him. Then spotted Tiny sitting near the back. Tiny recognized him immediately. He stood up and came outside, closing the door behind him. The sounds inside became muffled. Tiny looked at Eli. "My guy," Mark replied quickly. Tiny nodded. Then his face became serious. He explained that some of his guys had asked his permission to go and hit a guy. Mark looked at him with a shocked expression. Tiny continued. "I decided to go with them so things wouldn't get too far out of hand, if you get my gist. When we got to your room, I saw your picture and recognized you from the gym." He had a wry smile on his face. "Let's say you got lucky." "But why? Who did I offend?" Mark asked. Tiny smiled. "Do you know a guy called Rui?" Mark nodded. "We had a little quarrel in the bathroom. He tried to take my spot in the queue for a shower. I asked him nicely, but he refused to wait for his turn." Mark explained. That was not the picture he painted." Tiny said. "When I saw it was you, I figured something wasn't right. You don't strike me as the type that would do what he described. Anyway, apologize to him and try to squash it. No point letting this go any further. I have to go. Take it easy. See you around." With that, Tiny went back inside his room. Mark and Eli walked silently down the corridor. Both were disturbed by what they had just witnessed. Finally, Eli spoke. "These guys are dangerous." Mark nodded. "I think the boy in the middle was the guy the first saw the other day being escorted from the courtyard." Eli looked thoughtful. "I met a guy in engineering. He is a third-year student. He looks like he must belong to something. I don't know which one he might belong to." Mark looked at him. "But what if he is in a rival confra? I do not want this to escalate any further." Eli nodded. "Maybe he can help calm things down." Mark hesitated. The idea sounded dangerous. "Let me apologize to Rui and end this." Eli agreed. Later that afternoon, Mark and Eli met Rui. His expression changed immediately. Mark walked straight up to him. Calm. Controlled. "So because of that small matter, you tried to have me hit?" Rui laughed arrogantly. "You call that small?" Then his face hardened. "I wanted them to pour acid on your face." Everything around Mark went quiet. "Acid?" Something snapped inside him. "Acid?" Mark repeated slowly. Rui stared back defiantly. "Yes." Mark stepped forward instantly. "You must be mad." Rui expected fear. Expected an apology. Instead, Mark looked at him coldly. "I don't care who you think you know." Rui's confidence began fading. Mark stepped closer. Mark's voice became deadly calm. "I'll let this slide because of who spoke to me. But, if you cross me again, I will make your life hell. In fact, next time you see me coming, cross the road." Then he turned and walked away with Eli. Rui remained frozen. Confused. Shaken. Terrified. As soon as they stepped outside, Eli burst out laughing. "Didn't you say something about apologizing?" Mark was serious. "Acid?" he repeated. "What a nincompoop. He needs to be taught a lesson. If not, he will try it again. If not to me, someone else. Let us meet with this guy you talked about." That evening, Eli and Mark went to Hall 3 to meet with the third-year engineering student. He introduced himself as Rambo. He was about 6 feet 4 inches tall. Rugged looking. He had a friend with him who was about 6 feet 7 or 8 inches tall. Mark immediately understood what Eli had meant when he said Rambo was definitely a member of something. Eli explained the situation. He said Tiny was nice enough to help him. The two boys laughed. "Tiny? Nice?" They laughed some more. "Anyway, what would you like us to do?" Eli answered. "Just talk to this Rui guy." Mark jumped in. "I don't want anything to happen to him. Just scare him enough so he never bothers me again." "No problem. We are not in the business of just hurting people anyway." He winked at Mark. Mark and Eli thanked them. Offered to buy them drinks later. A few days passed. Mark and Eli noticed that Rui was nowhere to be found. Not in class. Not in the lab. Not even around Hall 3. They went to speak with Rambo. "Have you had a chance to talk with Rui yet? We haven't seen him around campus in a few days." Of course. Rambo confirmed he and his friend visited him the following night after their meeting. "What happened?" Mark asked, a little anxious. "Nothing bad. We educated him on what could happen if he continued in the direction he was heading." "And that was it?" Mark asked. "Well, he nearly urinated on himself," Rambo laughed. "Don't worry. Like I said, nothing happened to him. He was so scared. Trust me. He will not bother you again." Mark was so relieved. Mainly, that nothing physical happened to Rui. Mission accomplished, he thought. A few weeks went by. Mark and Eli were now fully settled. Lectures went smoothly. Mark had run into Rui a few times. He was respectful. Even said hi a couple of times. Mark even felt he showed some respect. Over lunch one day, Eli said to Mark, "Someone asked me if you and I had joined a fraternity?" "What?" Mark was shocked. Why would he ask that? "I know, right? He said he had seen us with a couple of the top members of the Air Lords confraternity. When I quizzed him, he said he had seen us with Rambo a few times." "So that's who they roll with? The IA Confra?" Mark asked. "Looks like it." Eli shrugged. Mark went on. "I ran into Kingsley earlier today. He is the guy who asked if anyone had invited me to join any club. This was the very first day I arrived in Benin. Turns out he is a Mafite. He invited me to join them. I asked if he knew Tiny. He said he did. He went on to say Tiny was the head of the Black Axe." Eli looked shocked. "I was shocked too. Man, you really had a narrow escape." "Tell me about it," Mark responded. "Mafite?" Eli looked puzzled. "Not Mafia?" "No," Mark responded. "Apparently, that is a different one. Honestly, I would rather join Purple Rain or GQ. Those guys have it together. They are legit and are recognized by the university. They throw the best parties. Ladies love them, and girls adore them." Mark smiled. "Good luck joining those," Eli laughed. "You have to either be rich or have a famous dad." "What did you say to Kingsley?" Eli asked. "No, of course." For the first time, Mark truly understood the power these confraternities had over university life. Power through fear. Power through violence. Power through reputation. But even then, one question remained in Mark's mind. If he refused to join them, would he ever truly be safe? Good Boys at the Gate is a cinematic African storytelling series inspired by true events surrounding university life, brotherhood, intimidation, and the hidden world of confraternities.